Begin. Recording is on. So thank you so much for everyone for coming to today's exciting event. I'm really delighted to have with us Professor Li Jun, Associate Professor of English, although he has just reminded me he would be preferred to be called David in today's event. So welcome, David. And
Thank
welcome
you.
all of you to today's online guest lecture, which is going to be When Tang Xianzu Meets Shakespeare, Dreaming Under the Bough. I'm really delighted to also have in the room Steve Ansell. So Li Jun and Steve have both been co-directors on a really successful and excellent production called Dreaming Under the Bough, which was a collaboration between this University of Leeds and University of International Business and Economics. And it is a collaboration, connectedness of Tang Xianzu, who is known as China's Shakespeare and also Shakespeare. So in today's event, we're going to be covering some really interesting points, which is what made Tang Xianzu one of China's greatest playwrights and why does his work still matter today? Where do Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu meet across cultures and what can we learn from their shared themes? And then we're going to look about this creation, Dreaming Under the Bough. How was it created? What lessons have we learned from this intercultural collaboration? So before I welcome David to speak for us, I want to just hand over to the director of the Business Confucius Institute, which is the institute that's hosting the event today, Director Hu, and she would like to just say some welcome words.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jack. And thank you, Professor Li Jun. And I don't really have very much to say. I'm very much looking forward to this very interesting talk. But of course, on behalf of our Business Confucius Institute, I must give our gratitude, first of all, to Professor Li Jun for having taken all the time to make this possible. It's been a great support to us. And thank you so much. I would also like to welcome all the participants to today's event. And so our Confucius Institute is a cooperation project, let's say, between the University of Leeds and the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing. And we have been here for quite a long time, and we are very happy to support all the cultural events to enhance the mutual understanding of the two peoples. And so I think nothing could be better than literature, music, art, or drama to help the two peoples to understand each other. And I believe there are more in common than we have as differences. And so I think this is a brilliant event for us to have a better understanding of the culture of the other country. And so we are very happy to support this event. And thank you all for your participation and support. So I'm not going to take any more of the very precious time. I'll give it all to Professor Li Jun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First of all, huge thanks from bottom of my heart to Professor Hu Rong, to Jack, to Business Confucius Institute at the University of Leeds for giving such a wonderful opportunity. Yes, it's true. It's a really honor to be here for this online talk, sharing some knowledge and some of my personal experiences related to this topic today. So first of all, everybody, good evening or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Here in Beijing, it's already a crisp winter night, but for most of you, I suppose, it's probably still midday. Isn't it amazing that we can bridge such vast temporal and spatial distance to engage in this online talk? This capacity to cross and, in a sense, even transcend is exactly what I'm going to address tonight, because it is this that allows William Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu to meet across centuries, and what enables us to integrate the extraordinary works of these two towering playwrights in our contemporary theatrical production. When we reflect on the most influential and greatest playwrights in history, for sure, the name of William Shakespeare will first pop up in our mind. Yes, that's true. But yet today, I want to introduce you to Shakespeare's contemporary, a Chinese genius of equal magnitude, Tang Xianzu. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. There is a wonderful coincidence. Both of these two great theater giants died in exactly the same year, 1616. Actually, the great Spanish writer Cervantes, author of Don Quixote, as you may know, also passed away in that year. Shakespeare's plays still dominate stages across the West, for sure, while Tang Xianzu's works are the backbone of Kunqu opera, a beloved centuries-old Chinese tradition. They lived on opposite sides of the globe in a time when genuine cultural exchange was pretty unheard of. But their lives and their art share a profound connection, speaking eloquently to the universal power of literature and humanities. So now let's take a closer look at our Ming Dynasty drama master, Tang Xianzu. Tang Xianzu was born in 1550, just a few years before Shakespeare, and he was born in a scholarly family. His intellectual gift quickly became clear. At age of 21, he passed the Juren examination. Okay, this is an examination at the provincial level that qualified candidates for imperial service. And by 34, he had earned his 进士 degree. This is the highest academic honor in imperial China, somehow akin to the doctorate degree or PhD today. His official career took him first to Nanjing, where he served as a Taichang scholar, that is Taichangsi 博士. Okay, this is the official post, mainly responsible for some ceremonial overseeing jobs, in overseeing state rituals and some sacrificial ceremonies. Later, he was reassigned to Xuwen in Guangdong province as a prison supervisor in ancient China. In ancient China, the name is Dianshi. As I will just introduce like a little bit later, actually this is a demotion from the previous post to Xuwen, because Xuwen is a remote place, rather underdeveloped in Guangdong province. Still later, Tang Xianzu, he was promoted again to take the role of a magistrate, 知县, in a county in Zhejiang province called Suichang. What defined Tang Xianzu, though, was his unwavering integrity and refusal to compromise. He first crossed paths with power when he displeases Zhang Juzheng, the Grand Secretary, one of the most influential officials of the era, by refusing to accompany Zhang Juzheng's two sons to their examination. Because at that time, Zhang Juzheng's sons, they are not, of course, they were not as brilliant and talented as Tang Xianzu, and Tang Xianzu is already famous. So Zhang Juzheng wanted to take advantage of Tang Xianzu's presence to go with his sons, so his sons would just be got some more glory. But Tang Xianzu refused such a kind of gesture, usually seen as a kind of currying favor. So later, his open criticism of high-ranking officials led to another reassignment. And this time, as I said, he was sent to a remote county in Guangdong, that is the Xu Wen to become a prison overseer. But as a famous Chinese saying goes, 塞翁失马，焉知非福. Literally, that is, when the old man of the frontier lost his horse, who would say it was not a blessing? Maybe in English, the counterpart is a blessing in disguise. The idea that misfortune can hide unexpected good proved true for Tang Xianzu, because those unjust setbacks became fuel and even inspiration for his creativity in literature. In 1598, Tang Xianzu finally resolved to stay away, to keep off from politics entirely. So he returned to his hometown in Linchuan. That is nowadays it's called Fuzhou. That is the city where Steve and I, with the two teams from our two universities, went in October. And then in his last years in his hometown, he fully dedicated himself to writing. And it was in his hometown, he produced his most celebrated works, collected and known as the Four Dreams of Linchuan, that is Linchuan Simeng, including the Purple Hairpin, 纸钗记, the Peony Pavilion, 牡丹亭, Record of a Southern Bough, 南柯记, and the Record of Handan, 邯郸记. And of course, there are different English versions, English translations for the title. To take 南柯记, for example, it is also widely accepted to translate it as a dream under the Southern Bough, or as a Southern Bough dream. But the Record of Southern Bough is a name I picked up from some kind of, like a Wikipedia and like some other documents widely accepted by scholars and critics. So anyhow, these are the four major plays written by Tang Xianzu. They are called the Four Dreams of Linchuan, because all of which revolving around and centering on a dream, okay, a world which is obviously different from reality. So next, let's, okay, wait a moment. So Jack, is it going all well? I just want to check because I'm not an experienced online kind of speaker.
Yeah, it's
Everything
fantastic.
Well?
Perfect.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next, let's turn to two iconic moments. The Tang Xianzu's works didn't just entertain. This is something very important. Instead, his plays are highly dramatic, but at the same time, they are so beautiful and delicate in language, in the music. So actually, probably the most famous, the crown jewel of all the Four Dreams of his four major works, the most important one should be the Peony Pavilion, 牡丹亭. I suppose this is the play which most like Westerners, they are even familiar with. This romantic masterpiece tells the story of a lady, Du Li Niang. She's a young woman who falls madly in love with a man she meets only in a dream. A grief-stricken by longing for the man she meets and loves in the dream, she pines and she finally even dies, only to be miraculously resurrected through the sheer power of that love. Because her lover, Liu Mengmei, saw a portrait of Du Li Niang, and out of his longing and love and affection, Du Li Niang comes back to life again. This is a narrative that's resonated across centuries and ever cross cultures, even in UK, in USA, and in almost all the countries in the world. The Peony Pavilion is often the first taste of Kunqu opera many people get. But the Tang Xianzu's works didn't just entertain, like most Kunqu operas before his time. Instead, Tang Xianzu's greatest contribution to Kunqu lies in the fact that his works, his beautifully written and woven dramatic works, transformed and even elevated Kunqu. Long revealed as the mother of Chinese opera, Kunqu was primarily a form of entertainment before Tang Xianzu, but the Tang Xianzu's play shifted it toward philosophical exploration, deepening its themes and helping mature drama into a more profound art form. So next, let's turn to two iconic moments from the Peony Pavilion to feel the depths of Tang Xianzu's play. I will show you firstly two lovely illustrations from a Ming edition of the Peony Pavilion. On the left, you will see Du Linyang in the garden. So on seeing the beautiful spring scene, she reflects on and laments her own kind of seclusion. And she even yearns for something just new and something more romantic and more lively. So that's what happened in the picture, in the illustration on the right. In Du Linyang's dream, she dreams of a handsome, graceful young scholar whose name is Liu Mengmei. They fall in love in the same way as Romeo and Juliet does. Romeo and Juliet do in Shakespeare's love tragedy. Falls in love with each other at the first sight. Okay, so the two iconic pieces. The first one is sung by Du Linyang. Okay, let's just go over these few lines. The English one, my eyes now feast on flowers of all hues, which adorn but deserted wells and battered walls. Nature's blessings are thus shamefully wasted, and in whose garden are they by humans blessed? So the translation is by the Chinese scholar, Professor Huang Bikang. Steve, you may still remember this professor because he took the role of the poet at the closing part of a Peony Pavilion produced by University of Manchester and Peking University. So the original line in Tang Xianzu's 牡丹亭 is this. 原来姹紫嫣红开遍，似这般都付与断井颓垣。良辰美景奈何天，赏心乐事谁家院? So let's appreciate a video in a couple of minutes. This is the Du Linyang's their singing performed by a very famous and prestigious Chinese artist. His name is San Wen.
山碧落是水家月。
Okay, next is a few lines and verses to be sung by Liu Mengmei, also in the same scene. Okay, this is what happens in Du Linyang's dream. On seeing Du Linyang, Liu Mengmei is amazed by such a beauty, and he instantly falls in love with Du Linyang by expressing his affection and his love by his admiration of Du Linyang's beauty, as shown in the following lines. My lady, I love you with all my heart, admiring your prime beauty like a flower with dewy luster, fast fading like the spring. I've been looking for you everywhere, only to find you in your room alone, withering in self-pity and in shadow. 为你如花美眷，似水流年，似达儿闲寻遍，在幽闺自怜。Okay, now next let's appreciate this scene performed by two leading Kunqu artists. Liu Mengmei was acted by Shi Xiaming, and Du Linyang was performed by Shan Wen, whose performance we just watched in the preceding video. Okay, now let's enjoy Liu Mengmei's singing.
姐姐，咱一片闲情爱上姐姐。
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed these two video clips, the wonderful Kunchu performances. Okay, now I just realized we have already just already just used about 20 minutes, and we have a 1 hour. So can we just I will try to speed up a little bit in the second part. That is the a talk about what Tang Xianzu and Shakespeare they share in common. I will just highlight the key points, but I will leave some time for maybe Q&A. If anyone in the audience you are interested in this topic, and we can just go on with it. Since today our focus is on our collaborative theatrical production between Leeds and UIBE. There's a Dreaming Under the Bough. So I'd like to mainly focus on this production. Is that okay for everybody? So Jack, what do you think? Okay, so but I will quickly just go over the second section. Okay, wait a moment. This is the picture I took in Fuzhou in a park called the Park of Three Great Writers. I deliberately chose this angle to conceal the third one, that is the 70s. So in this picture, you have Tang Xianzu and Shakespeare. What do these two great writers share in common? So firstly, I should say it's the shared theme and ideas which blurs reality and illusion. To take our work, our production, Dreaming Under the Bough, for example, it is a blending of two dreams, A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare and Dreaming Under the Southern Bough by Tang Xianzu. So in all these works of dreams or revolving on dreams or related to dreams, the boundary between reality and illusion is blurred, which gives us the suggestion or inspiration that reality can be transcended, and we still have hope to overcome various difficulties or disappointments in our life. We have the ability and capacity to break boundaries, to embrace some new and broader world. So this is the first thing shared by both Tang Xianzu and Shakespeare. And secondly is their focus on love and passion. This is what makes Shakespeare a leading representative of English Renaissance, playing utmost stress on humanity, on human nature. And this is also what Tang Xianzu, he emphasized. Tang Xianzu is known to be a writer believing in the uttermost emotion. And his words can be summarized as the 至情. Okay, this is the leading theme of all his works. In all his works, the human nature, especially humans' affection, passion, and romantic feelings and love are at the center, are at the heart of his almost all his works. Thirdly, is their mastery of poetic language. Shakespeare's iambic pentameter makes his plays poetic. He's widely respected as the bard, not just as the playwright. Likewise, Tang Xianzu's his works, especially many verses from his works, are widely quoted, recited, and cherished by his readers and by people going to the theater to watch his plays. And the charm and beauty of Tang Xianzu's poetic language, I think, is fully revealed in the two video clips we just watched. The next point shared by William Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu, I should say, is their innovating spirit, but it's a kind of an innovation within tradition. They could be both described as masters of putting new wine in old bottles, 旧瓶装新酒, or growing new shoots from old branches, 旧枝发新芽. For Shakespeare, he rejected classical dramatic rules, including breaking the three unities of time, place, and action. And he blurred the division between tragedy and comedy. Instead, he's widely known for his tragicomedy or tragic comedy kind of characteristic in his plays. And Shakespeare is also widely known to be so good at tapping into some old familiar stories, but he transformed those commonplace and mediocre former or preceding stories, tales, and chronicles into literary masterpieces. Likewise, Tang Xianzu is also a great innovator. In his time, the mainstream kind of ideology is the called Neo-Confucianism, that is the 理学, which emphasized ritual and restraint. Instead, Tang Xianzu crafted works rooted in people's spiritual connection and nature, called 灵性, 自然, and 至情, as I previously mentioned, that means the uttermost or extreme unbridled emotion, as embodied in 杜丽娘. So the innovating spirit shared by Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu is also their most admirable kind of a trait and their commonality. And of course, last but not least, I think we all agree that these two great writers, they have left great, boundless, enduring cultural and literary legacy for people today. Okay, this is I just want to the 5 points shared by Tang Xianzu and Shakespeare. I just want to briefly mention. Next, I will just move on to a more to your introduction to the two theatrical collaborations between University of Leeds and the University of International Business, University of International Business and Economics, UIBE. So these two works, they are Midsummer Night's Dreaming Under the Southern Bough, 仲夏夜梦南柯. It was co-directed by Steve Ansel and me almost 10 years ago. We had our premiere at Leeds, and then we moved to Edinburgh to perform at Edinburgh Fringe that year. And then we just moved to China. We attended the International Shakespeare Festival held by Shanghai Academy of Drama. And then we just come back to Beijing, and we made 2 performances in Beijing, and Lee and Steve led the team of Leeds further to Fuzhou, the hometown of Tang Xianzu, and just performed there. This work, 9 years ago, is a back-to-back joint theatrical production commemorating the 400th anniversary of William Shakespeare's and Tang Xianzu's death. But the work we produced this year, Dreaming Under the Bough, is different. It is a bilingual, cross-cultural production, blending the two dream narratives from both Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu, and weave them into the same piece. To give you some idea of the first production, allow me firstly to show you some pictures. So here on the left is the poster of Midsummer Night's Dreaming Under the Southern Bough in 2016. On the left, you see the upper one is the premiere at Leeds. This is the stage. This is a theater I suppose you should be familiar with. And the lower part, this is the picture we took together at the end of our performance. And this picture was on show in the UIB museum. And Steve was so excited to see this picture because you see the two lovely kids of Steve. They were seated in the front, Luca and his sister. Okay, this is on seeing these pictures, my memory of the shared experiences almost 10 years ago were refreshed. I feel so warm. Okay, next one, I will show you a video. This is the news report, on-site report at Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and made by CCTV. Okay, it will run for a few minutes.
It's all about dreaming. The British Shakespeare and Chinese Tang Xianzu would never have imagined that 400 years later, their famous plays about dreaming would be intertwined. Inspired by Shakespeare's poet's eye that glances from heaven to earth, and Tang Xianzu's open mind that can fly up to the sky down to the earth, students and staff from the University of Leeds and Beijing's International Business and Economics University are working together to create a new performance. By incorporating the theme of dreaming, they wish to capture and mark the 400th anniversary of the death of the two legendary playwrights. The creative team from the UIBE present a piece inspired by the young lovers and fairies in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, while students from Leeds offer a contemporary response to Tang Xianzu's 南科记.
People are now interested in China, however, not Chinese culture. So for drama education, let's say, drama history, people may talk about Japanese theater or Indian theater, but none of anything of Chinese theater is mentioned. So the whole idea is Chinese students perform Shakespeare and British students perform Tang Xianzu. And this is the cultural bridge to link the two nations and the two countries.
Classic bridge plots are kept in the Chinese version of A Midsummer Night's Dream, while contemporary elements are also added into the play, giving it a modern and humorous twist.
I thought it was really interesting, the fact that you use singing and even beatboxing in it as well. That was super interesting. Nice. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I loved it. It was hilarious. I thought that the spirits were absolutely the funniest. They had such great chemistry.
The cause of true love never did run smooth, and love looks not with the eyes. This kind of classic lines serve as an antidote to the real world, giving comfort, patience, and strength to the people who pursue true love. Apart from this, the creator in chief.
Okay, due to time constraints, let's just move on. So here we see a picture of the first online rehearsal on October the 1st this year. Okay, this is the first time to two crews. We just met each other online. Okay, this is a feature I will highlight in my introduction shortly. And here, these two lovely pictures. The one on the left is the two crews, the two teams. We met each other at the airport of Fuzhou. But from the pictures, you will see the two teams. They seem to have already just mingled so well and so tightly, naturally with each other. This is so inspiring because we had never met each other physically. We only just rehearsed and discussed and met each other online. And the picture on my right, this is the picture, the two teams we took together of the first show in Fuzhou. So here, these are two pictures in the performance at Gandong college university on October 25th. Okay. And here, these are two pictures of our performance. And a performance of excerpt in 9 minutes performed at UIBE. Okay. And here I will just show you two very brief video clips, with the first one an opening and the second one a love scene between Chun Yufen from Tang Xianzu's record of a Southern Bough and Hermia from Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay, let's watch the video first. Okay, I will just find the video.
Charlie! Charlie Finn! Charlie!
Welcome to our kingdom, Chen Yu. My name is Charlie. Charlie Penn. I am General Overall, and you shall serve as governor to our southern gate. My name is Charlie. I'm not a leader. I'm just an ex-soldier. You will do your duty, soldier. The northern ants are becoming bolder, and you shall stand between them and our southern gate.
说白了就是守大门，里面有只黑蚂蚁不怀好意，别让他们进来。And I am Queen Titania, Supreme Leader of the Southern Bough, ruler of the Sephora. Bow before me.
Okay, next, let's watch the love scene between Chun Yu and Hermia.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, I
你看他们不骄不躁，心无旁骛，就为了一个共同的念想。
A humble life of purpose. The great good.
人们都说梦做得越美，代价就越重。纵然是太平，也得有代价。那你真想留下，就得拿出你的诚意来。To be part of our kingdom, you must prove your worth.
In your eyes, I see that dream. I will prove myself. If you'll give me the chance.
Sorry, I have to keep it short. Okay, because due to time constraints. Okay, next, let me just introduce how the two teams from Leeds and UIBE, we collaborated with each other to achieve this successful kind of production. Firstly, I want to say this is due to two great teams and one unstoppable collaboration. At the heart of this production was a team that blended experience, expertise, and enthusiasm. I want to mention Professor Li Ruru here, so which was interviewed in the CCTV news, that is the lady, because Li Ruru served as the backbone and inspirator. Her deep expertise in Tang Xianzu's works and cross-cultural theater kept our vision grounded, while her ability to bridge ideas between Chinese and British perspectives ensured we stayed true to both playwrights. And of course, there was our great director, Steve Ansel, who is with us online today. He's such a veteran artist with warmth that made every team member from both sides feel valued, respected, and inspired. His decades of experience helming cross-cultural projects were invaluable. And Steve, he knows how to balance respect for tradition with bold innovation. And his guidance turned the whole team and all our separate and scattered ideas into a cohesive story. So I think this is really a great shame that today maybe we don't have enough time for Steve to share more things with us. I'm sure he has more insights and more experience to share with us. And of course, our students from two sides, they just did a great job. And what make our achievement so kind of worthy and admirable is that we overcome very tight, almost incredible deadlines and time constraints with courage, determination, and a concerted effort. Believe it or not, actually, when we just first received this thrilling but quite a daunting kind of invitation, it was almost by the end. It was almost at the end of August, and then when we just really got started to prepare, we have no more than 1 month. And as I show you the picture of our first online rehearsal, it was on October. October the 1st. So we had almost three. We had almost only 3 weeks to rehearse online, but we just cooperated with each other, and we just tapped most into our online rehearsals with precision, with precise scheduling, and with kind of the very highly efficient kind of rehearsal, and also with the fully concentrated, full concentration with everybody involved in the online rehearsal. So here I also want to mention, apart from our kind of use of online technology, we also employed AI as a creative tool, but as a tool to blaze the trail in the very beginning, instead of taking our place or replacing our talent. Because given the time constraints in the beginning, it is extremely difficult for us to kind of work out a clear-cut 40-minute combination or blending based on the 2 plays written by Tang Xianzu and Shakespeare. So Steve and I, we got a number of ideas, and we had several different options, but as to how to organize those ideas, how to weave those ideas into one integral and organic kind of a piece, we think it's very difficult, and we think that probably is not a bad idea to ask AI to think of some scenario for us, so based on which we could move on. So Steve used some kind of AI tools as he got access to in UK, and I also just tapped into some domestic AI tools in China. And as a result, we got a few different kind of options, like 3 or 4, with the scenario, how the 2 stories, how the 2 plots can be woven together. So based on that, we just do some rethinking and selection, and we finally lock on one kind of scenario. But we just we worked further to build on it by fleshing it out, by build on this kind of a scaffold or framework, also by just enriching it with some added plots and scenes. For example, in the beginning, our scenario didn't include the hilarious scene between Titania and Charlie, which is Bottom from Shakespeare's comedy Midsummer Night's Dream. And Steve came up with this idea because this is a super funny and a comic scene. And then we have a couple of rounds of discussion because in the very beginning, we had some doubt about this new kind of idea because in the original scene, in the original play, the love between Titania and the Bottom transformed as a donkey is well motivated. And the motivation for that is quite clear. But to transplant it in our new play, the motivation, some like a background was not seemed not clear enough. But with this doubt, we just try to make sense of it, try to just make it justifiable. So we turned Charlie, namely Bottom from Shakespeare's play, as a fellow soldier to Chun Yufen. And we just try to just make the jealousy of the Ant King, of the general, the husband to the Ant Queen, by making Ant Queen showing some kind of interest or being kind of attracted by Charlie, so arousing, so to arouse her husband's kind of jealousy, and so the husband asked the park to play a trick on his wife and also Charlie. So it worked out perfectly. So with such kind of adding based on AI's kind of trailblazing job, I think the outcome is very encouraging. And of course, this is both Steve and I agree that this is such a almost unprecedented kind of exploration and experiment. And actually, we decided to work further on it and to just make maybe even more bolder and innovative kind of attempt of how to make creative and meaningful use of AI. Last but not least, I want to say this is a work, this is a true work of based on our shared dream and a renewed friendship. In an interview with the media, actually, I just mentioned a statue on the campus of Leeds, which still just left very vivid impression on my mind from my last visit to Leeds almost 10 years ago, because that statue is named The Dreamer. So, which reminds me that our production, Dreaming Under the Bough, is actually a work of a shared dream. So here in the last picture, you will see how the students from Leeds, they joined their friend, Chinese friend. They enjoyed such a lovely time on the campus of UIBE, and how we all felt somehow sad at the time of a departure. So the lower picture on the right is the one we took at the moment when the Leeds crew they were going to take a bus leading them to Beijing airport. To wrap it up, I realized that we don't have much time for Q&A, but I still want to invite you to enjoy a video which we just shot in our after-show dinner in Fuzhou. And because this is so cheerful and so funny, and with this, I will just end my talk, and I will leave some time, hopefully, for our Q&A. Okay, wait a moment.
Should I have a cue line or just go into it? No, okay.
No cue line.
And then end with 你看到查理了吗 ？Okay.
Let's go.
你看到查理了吗？哦。
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
你
看到查理了吗？
Okay, have you seen Charlie? 你看到查理了吗? Oh, Charlie is there. Alexander, Alex, so nice to see you. Okay, Jack. So this is what I'd like to share with you. I'm sorry. As I said, I apologize before my talk. I'm not good at just controlling the time. So I'm not sure how much time we still have for some exchange of ideas or for questions from the audience. But I do want to ask Steve to at least to say a few words. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. That was really excellent, David. I think we can certainly fit some time in for questions, and I'm happy to extend the event across the hour. Obviously, if people need to leave, then they're welcome to do so. So yeah, I will invite Steve to speak in a moment, give him a chance just to prep what he's going to say. But if other people can also prep some questions, I've got a question for you straight up, David, which is I'm really interested in you personally. Tang Xianzu, obviously you've mentioned the Mudanting, the Peony Pavilion is probably his most famous one, and it's what people often compare to Romeo and Juliet from Shakespeare. Which is your personal favourite of his works? Is it that one mentioned, or would you recommend another one as the one that you personally enjoy the most?
You mean Tang Xianzu's one work, which I favor?
Which one is your favourite?
Honestly, I'm not that knowledgeable in Tang Xianzu. So honestly, I haven't just finished reading all his 4 major plays. But I also want to just be honest that our collaboration with the leads, with Steve and his students, gave me such a worthy opportunity to return to Chinese drama, to return to Tang Xianzu. So because I've been doing Shakespeare for many years, so maybe it's safer. It's safe to say I'm a little bit more knowledgeable in Shakespeare than in Tang Xianzu. But my experience with Shakespeare
Well, I don't know if we've lost David there.
I think he's frozen, Jack. Yes.
He's frozen. I tell you what, Steve, I'll invite you in if that's okay. If you had any further comment. Oh, we're back.
He's back.
Sorry, after our production in Fuzhou, and I also just went to the theater to see a Kunqu rendition of Handan Dream in Beijing. And I've also just borrowed some books, the collection of Tang Xianzu's plays, including also the Purple Hairpin. So I am now just seriously just begin to read and learn more about Tang Xianzu. But since we just worked on A Dream Under the Southern Bough or Record of a Southern Bough, I think probably this is the one at the present I think I like in particular because it is different to just to read a play, and I do believe the charm and the depth of the richness of the play can be only explored, can be only felt through acting or through theater going. For Mudanting Peony Pavilion, I've seen several different versions, stage versions, and I've read the script, the play. But it's different from my experience as a co-director and also as a practitioner in theater. Try to interpret, render almost a very small word or very small kind of a scene from his plays. So now I think thanks a lot to our invaluable experience in working on A Dream Under the Southern Bough, this play has become maybe my favorite so far. But I just want to say how I have benefited from this experience and how I feel grateful for this.
Great, thanks so much. Let me hand over to Steve there.
Yeah, I'd say from my perspective, when we started doing this 10 years ago, I knew nothing of Tang Xianzu at all. And I say that because that was probably true of most people, with the exception of Peony Pavilion. And the one thing I knew I wanted to do was not do a production of the Peony Pavilion, because I felt other people had done it already. So what would I bring new? The reason I like Nunca G, Dream Under the Southern Bough, is because it seems to be about the man himself. You can feel Tang Xiangzu, the writer, arguing it within those scripts or in those parts, within those characters, his own thoughts on life and where he found himself and why, and looking back. It just seemed to be about the human. It had that philosophical element. So that's why, for me, Nunca G, I've now read them all. It's worth saying, Jack, when we started doing this in 2016, you couldn't buy the Four Dreams in the UK in English at all. In fact, Nunca G was the first non-Peony Pavilion in English I could actually locate. And I think that was found in a bookshop in Germany by Lilauscher. She found it for me. And so I read it and I'm like, yes, I want to do this. And I felt I could do something contemporary with it as well. In terms of what we've just done, I think the big thing really is that it's in English and it's in Chinese. But if you were to take out both, you wouldn't read the same script. The Chinese part of the script and the English part of the script have to work together. And Li Jun has just said, David has just said about the fact that theatre needs to be performed. Well, I think this particular theatre, bilingual theatre, heterogeneous theatre, whatever you want to call it, absolutely needs to be performed, because the physicality, the realization of the acting and the performance is kind of the third voice. So you might not hear a line in English because it's said in Mandarin, and you might not speak that language, but you will still get the meaning through the performance. So a bilingual viewer should hopefully get a slightly richer experience, because they get, if you like, they get all parts of the puzzle. But a non-bilingual speaker shouldn't get an empty or a hollow experience. They should also get a good, decent experience. And I would hope, if we're doing our job correctly, that an English speaker who didn't speak Chinese and a Chinese speaker that didn't speak English, if they were to talk about the piece, they would be talking about the same piece with the same emotions. And I've seen multiple plays that have been delivered to me via titling, because I don't speak fluently enough Chinese. And my colleagues who are bilingual have said, the play you're reading and seeing is not the play that I'm hearing and seeing. There's a disconnect between that. So I think for myself and David, that was the challenge too. So our English audience and our Chinese audience and our bilingual audience saw the same play. Did that make sense?
Yes, I think it makes a lot of sense indeed. Yeah. And also, I think I just thought that the value of performance, especially the adaptation of Tang Xianzu and Shakespeare in our time, lies in just finding and exploring, or even just building the relevance of their such ancient literature to us. And only by finding the relevance of their work to us can us, or some kind of a young student, they will feel engaged in. They will feel those literary icons or kind of a classics, something meaningful and interesting to them. So this is also something so invaluable for us in the whole process, because in rehearsing, in reading, understanding, rehearsing, revising, and just the packing, and involving all these steps, and also with arguments with each other. Sometimes we quite often we didn't really totally agree with each other, but through all these kind of interactions, it's like a kind of a rock being kind of how do you say, robbed, and then finally that rock and stone turned into some gem, some valuable kind of a stone. I don't. There is a Chinese saying that is 他山之石可以攻玉. That means we can benefit from the stones from foreign countries to create our own kind of a precious stone or jade. So this is what I just want to say. That is why I have just benefited from my experience in teaching and just doing Shakespeare to become more engaged in the literary kind of canon of our mother culture, Tang Xianzu. And likewise, I kind of feel that sometimes in some like international conferences and seminars, and some Westerner scholars, they also acknowledge, they also just express their, they told me that from our Chinese interpretation or adaptation or performance of Shakespeare, they've just got some like new insights. They've got some new ideas. So I think this is what makes the intercultural or cross-cultural dialogue exchange so meaningful. Okay, because we can really learn from each other and benefit from each other.
But on that, can I just say this? This was the incredible thing. 10 years ago, we rehearsed separately, and then we met for the first time in Leeds. And actually, it was quite difficult. I didn't know David at all. The cast didn't know each other. This time, we worked and fought online, and we are different, and there are differences, and that's to be, you know, admired, not damned. It's fantastic. And you know, certain things that David brought to the piece that I hadn't thought of because I have no cultural connection with that. Certain things I brought. We fought, we made a play. But the incredible thing was when we met just outside an airport in China for the first time. Remember, I know David, but these guys did not know each other. But when we met, it was as if they'd been friends for a long time. We had collaborated online. And if lockdown gave us anything, it's given us the proof that we can do this. This didn't used to be a thing. And the experience at the end, I asked the cast to write up their thoughts about it for later publication, hopefully. And one of the cast members said that they were very happy that they'd been looked after so well by myself and the team being so far away from home, and that this had changed their life and it was the best experience. Now that is a huge thing to say. These people have found friends. I think you'd agree with me, David, that your students and our students are very close now as a result of this process, and that has to be an important thing and worth noting. I think that, you know, human beings from very different cultures reveled in their difference, love their similarities, and are now friends. And I think that really, for me personally, is incredibly important.
Exactly. I think it's incredible. It's fabulous. Because this is what I just want to add one point. When I say what Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu they share in common is their blurring of reality and illusion or fantasy. But I just want to use the word transcendence. Transcendence. That means you can just overcome, you can surpass a lot of seemingly kind of insurmountable and just impossible kind of barriers and gaps, and as what we have achieved in our collaboration. And likewise, this is kind of inspiration for us, not just in this theatrical production, but in our life, in our kind of intercultural communications between nations. And I think this is something so inspiring to all of us. It also reminds us of the mission probably of the Confucius Institute, because I suppose it also aimed to transcend some kind of barriers or some like difficulties, so to bring people from two sides to be closer to each other and really to talk with each other and to know each other and to learn from each other. So I think these are some things extraordinary, as Steve puts it, and not so it's not just and it's so rewarding because in the past few months it's exhausting. But the outcome is so rewarding because we realize all is worthwhile because we have benefited so greatly from this shared experience.
Yes, I'd like to say huge amounts of thanks to UIBE in Beijing and also the Confucius Institute here at the University of Leeds for the support and the help, allowing this to happen and providing us with, you know, the opportunity to do this, along with the municipal government of Fuzhou. Hugely appreciated.
Right, guys, that's absolutely lovely. Can I open? We did promise we'd get some audience questions in, and I'm just aware of time, and I'm wanting to open it up. If anybody in the audience had a question for David or for Steve, then please do go ahead and unmute your mic and get your question.
I just want to say, Jack, for me, I'm happy to stay longer. So if people they feel like to talk with us maybe for a while, I'd be happy to stay. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, we've got a question here from William. He's written it. So
should I just okay? I will see. Okay.
You want me to read it to you?
Yes, so please. Because I could not read the complete question.
That's okay. It says Tang Xianzu's life and personality seem to be very well documented when compared with Shakespeare. Do you feel that this affects how his works are interpreted and adapted in modern contexts?
Yes, I think for sure. To say what makes Steve find Dreaming Under Southern Bough extremely particularly interesting is due to the fact that this play is largely based on Tang Xianzu's personal experiences. For example, as I just briefly introduced in the opening, Tang Xianzu just held several different official posts in his career. But his official kind of career was far from smooth because firstly, he displeased one of the most important high-ranking, almost the highest-ranking official, Zhang Juzheng, in his time, by refusing to accompany Zhang Juzheng's sons to examinations. So for this reason, he was assigned to actually not very important kind of a post as a kind of official in charge of some rituals and ceremonies. But later, things become worse because he wrote an article. He openly wrote an article to criticize two high-ranking officials in his time, including Zhang Juzheng and another guy. So for this reason, he just suffered just greater from his the so-called boldness. So he was reassigned and sent to a remote place, a remote county called Xuwen in Guangdong province. And although later, since Zhang Juzheng also just was down from his prestige, and Tang Xianzu's kind of a value was redeemed and acclaimed, so he was promoted again to be the county magistrate at a county in Zhejiang, that is Suichang. But he only stayed there for 5 years. But from all these kind of experiences as officials, Tang Xianzu finally just felt that politics is not his cup of tea. So that's why he just resigned from his post and he returned to his hometown. So the 4 dreams of Lin Chuan, they all just revolved around dreams, or they are all somehow related to dreams. And why dreams? Because the dreams might imply that some kind of a disillusionment or some kind of a longing to escape the reality, to pursue some kind of ideal, maybe states. And also from dreams, Tang Xianzu could feel much more free and feel more licensed to express his disappointments of phenomena and social facts. So Tang Xianzu used dreams as a social critique of officials, of some kind of problems in his society. So by knowing Tang Xianzu's life and his personality, could only just make our understanding of his works more kind of maybe fruitful. So I think definitely my answer is yes.
Awesome. Has anyone else got any other questions for David? Just give it a moment to see if people can put those questions in. That's William just thanking you for the answer, saying it makes a lot of sense. He has another question. Yeah, that's fine, William. Go ahead. I'll just wait for him to type the question. I'm sure he's typing away.
Thank you, Jack, for
we'll just wait shortly
the
for
question
that.
for me. Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, so the second question is, so when you were adapting the 2 plays this year, were there difficulties in getting certain themes to work together? Or are they more of a universal human experience that makes these plays work so well together? So was there difficulty in getting themes to work together, or are they more of a universal human experience that makes the plays work so well together?
Of course, I want to know what Steve thinks about it. But personally, from my perspective, I think definitely it is the universality. It is the base, the foundation that we work on these 2 plays. Otherwise, it would be a little bit kind of strange. We will try to blend them together because already at the core of these 2 plays, they share so common, including the kind of humanity, love, passion, reality, and illusion, and so on and so forth. And also these 2 plays, in terms of a plot, love plays a pivotal role. In Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, of course, we know the love between several different pairs, especially between Lysander and Hermia, and Demetrius and Helena, right? So, and also maybe some kind of love even between the Duke, the Oberon, and the Titanio. It can also be understood as kind of love. So likewise, in Tang Xianzu's Dreaming Under the Bough, we have although the story is set in the kingdom of ants, but the Tang Xianzu might just want to remind us that even for ants, even for such little animals, for them, love and passion and affection, they are so worthy and important. How about we human beings? Because in the kingdom of ants, Chun Yufen fall in love with the princess of the king, that is Yao Fang. But in our production, we just made some transformation by blending the 2 plays, by turning Yao Fang into Hermia, and Chun Yu as a kind of Chun Yufen from the Dreaming Under the Bough. So I think it is what the 2 plays and the 2 playwrights they share in common that form a solid foundation for us to start with and to work on. But I do agree that what William just mentions about some difficulties, of course, the difficulties will always be there. Let me just give you one kind of a specific example. That is the love scene between Hermia and Chun Yu. What makes it difficult that it is Steve and I, we collaborate with each other. We're both co-directors, although I do clarify in the first place, we will very much kind of rely on Steve's professionalism and his rich experience and expertise. But as a co-director on my side, UIBE, I had to take my responsibility, and also it is my responsibility also to direct the students or the actors to go through some scenes or to polish some kind of interpretation or rendering of some lines. So in that love scene, actually my understanding of the role of Hermia might be more Chinese traditional, because in Chinese tradition, a young girl is usually supposed to be or expect to be a more conserved or a little bit kind of a timid, not be too kind of a straightforward or passionate. But our actors, including our the actors on UIB side, they had somehow different opinion. They think because nowadays for young people, in China and in other countries, maybe their attitude to love is a little bit different from the traditional mode. They think it's much more common and much more natural for a young girl to express her feeling and to reveal her affection. It is much more natural for two youngsters. They fall in love quickly. So, and then we have some like a discussion, maybe some arguments also involved. But later, I think we strike a good balance. We keep some kind of a traditional traits in the role of Hermia, but we also make that scene kind of a more dramatic. And also thanks to Steve and the creativity, we let Chunyu to bite a kind of a roll of a paper in the shape of a bone, as if a dog will just bite a bone between the teeth. And that proved extremely hilarious scene, which was accepted and which was aroused the audience laughter in our performances, almost in both Fuzhou and Beijing. So I think the difficulty is there, but the difficulty is not necessarily negative. The difficulty might prove important for us to make further kind of dialogue and a further interaction, so to reach agreement at last. So Steve, do you agree with me? Do you have anything new to input?
Yes, I've just put something in the text. I do need to go to another meeting, but I'll make it really quick. I think for me, there are two things. There's the emotional delivery that you've talked about, and that's universal. Love, hate, pain, jealousy, the things of the human existence. And that's one side of the argument. On the other is the narrative arc that's telling that story, the storyline, if you like. And I think once we had the storyline working across these two characters in a way that was, I hope, sympathetic and honouring of both source texts, then I think those universal emotional delivery becomes much easier. I'm sorry to just say that so very quickly and have to rush, but I have another meeting. David, it was a pleasure working with you again online. Jack, thank you very much. UABE,
my
thank
pleasure.
you very much.
Thank you, Steve. And Alex, bye.
Excellent. We've just got some thank yous coming in as well from William and from Qing Yuan. And I will just open, we've had quite a few members of the audience leave, which is absolutely fine. They've probably got other things to do. I'll come for last questions. If anyone has any final questions for David, then feel free to get them in the chat. We'll just give it a moment or two. So Jiahui has got her hand up, so feel free to talk to us. There we go.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's a pleasure to have you here for your sharing. And I have a very small question. Like, in your view, which do you think speaks more powerful to today's audiences? Is the extremely genuine emotions, 至情, at the heart of Tang Xianzu's work, or the psychological complexity we often see in Shakespeare? So what makes it resonate in the contemporary moment, or how this play combined two different types of dreams?
I think actually the passion is shared by the dreams of both in the works of both playwrights. To take Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, for example, I think that kind of a heat, that kind of passion is actually overwhelming. So much so that sometimes it makes me feel a little bit. Sometimes it might be just be at the edge of being too much, because it's like just kind of a little bit farcical. But from those seemingly farcical scenes, probably the playwright intends to enlighten us. In the mouth of maybe Helena, love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind. So, and for lovers everywhere, maybe to go through some crazy moments, some super hot and passionate moments, is only natural. So, and of course, what happened in Tang Xianzu's works, to take Dreaming Under the Bough, for example, what happens between Chun Yufen and the princess of the Ant Kingdom. This is something kind of bizarre, but their passion, their affection, their love to each other is also passionate. So I think the passion is shared by both of them. But some truth, some enlightenment also lies in both plays. And Tang Xianzu's play, for sure, the dreams will enlighten the reader and audience. At the end of Dreaming Under the Southern Bough, Chun Yufen was converted into a Buddhist. Okay, although this is very often kind of not highlighted, or it is very often maybe left out in stage productions. And in Tang Xianzu's Han Ji, or Record of Han, the hero was also kind of changed into someone believed in Taoism, and was taken away and was influenced by Lu Dongbing to pursue the higher spiritual truths other than the worldly comforts and desires. And of course, from Shakespeare's plays, we will always be enlightened by such truths. That is the truth about our nature, about this world, including the truth of being a king, the truth of being a princess, the truth of being an ordinary person. So both the beauty, I think beauty, passion, and the truth are shared by the two great playwrights, and are something we could learn from and be inspired by from their works. So I think this is not a question of either or. Actually, I think it's both. It's something shared by the two playwrights, and also we can just learn from their work.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just conscious that we are coming up to the hour-and-a-half mark now. So I will go for one more question if anyone is still wanting to ask something to David. But if not, we perhaps can finish that. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. So what I just want to do, David, is to say to you, thank you so much for today. It's been so informative. I admit I didn't know very much about Tang Xianzu before today and before meeting you, and I'm really glad to learn about him. So I found a quote from Romeo and Juliet, which says, "Parting is such a sweet sorrow." And it is going to be a sorrow that I have to bring this meeting to an end today, because we've learned so much from yourself. It's great to speak to somebody like yourself and to Steve, that are so passionate and have put such energy and creativity into, the Dreaming Under the Bough that you have done. Thank you so much for attending today. If anybody does have any further questions they've not had opportunity to ask, would it be okay if I provide your email to them and they can maybe get in contact with you after the meeting?
Okay, that would be welcome. Okay, thank you.
Excellent. So we're grateful to speaking to you, and we look forward to doing, you're at our partner institute, UIBE, and we look forward to working with you again in the future on a range of different things. But thank you so much for coming today.
Sure, Jack, and you've been most helpful and friendly. I do love and I do appreciate your help and your. I enjoy just kind of preparing for this talk with you, and of course, my many thanks. My just gratitude goes to my colleague Professor Hu, and I think this is a great event. But I have to say, I'm not really kind of a tech savvy. So even for the online kind of meeting, I'm a little bit kind of clumsy. But thanks a lot to Jack's kind of assistance. Because I got a problem with should I just always show up, or when I just show you the PPT, but it turned out it's okay, and I think the most important thing is that some kind of interesting and worthy ideas and information you've got from my talk and my sharing with you tonight, today. Yeah, thank you so much, and also thank you for your questions.
Yeah, it worked really well. I think you're being too hard on yourself. You're very tech savvy. It worked absolutely fine. I'm going to hand over to Director Hu because I can see that she's unmuted her microphone, so she's maybe wanting to give us some final words.
No. It's already, we have already taken too much the time of Professor Lee and everybody. No, just want to say thank you and just want to say goodbye. Thank you very much, Professor Lee. It's been so kind of you and for having shared with us so much and taken all the time to make all the preparation. And thank you so much. I'm sure we'll have more things to work together in the future. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Sure. Thank you, and have a good day.
Okay,
Have a good evening.
Okay,
goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.